Hi, Joris.
Hello, Ivo.
Thanks for doing this interview with us. For people who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, my name is Joris. I grew up in Hengelo in the Netherlands, and I studied in Enschede Conservatory. Right now, I work and live in Los Angeles as a video game composer, synthesizer, programmer, synthesist type deal. I play drums in a lot of projects, and I work in video game audio implementation, as we say.
Cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been in LA?
Next year will be the 10th year. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes.
And you work for a company called Moonwalk Audio, I believe.
That's correct. Yes.
Is that like your main thing? Do you do most of your work for Moonwalk?
Yes. Well, with Moonwalk Audio, we're sort of like a one-stop solution in video game audio. So we just do a lot of different kind of projects. So we do most of our work is in video games. Occasionally we do a film as well. Occasionally we do like a live show, like music for a theater event. Last year we did a big like a magic show in Australia. So there's a lot of different projects, but I would say 90% of our work is in video games.
Okay. Can you describe the company in short? Is just a few guys or?
I would say it's 3 or 4 people that are working there, every day. And then we have like a ton of contractors that we work with.
And what kind of roles do these people have? Are there all like composers and music creatives or supervisors or?
It really depends on what the project needs. We have a lot of additional writers. We employ a lot of musicians every year for live recording, that kind of stuff. We have people that will translate things for us and will like supervise like the communication on a project. We have people that lead VO sessions. So like if we need to like record voiceover, that are fluent in both languages, that kind of thing. Because we've done localization of video games as well. And then it's nice to have people that speak the language that we're localizing. Yeah, and then we have people that we hire for implementation as well, if there's something that we couldn't do ourselves real quick. So yeah, that kind of thing.
You've shared a clip with us of some of the work you did for Moonwalk Audio. Let's have a look.
Okay.
This is a special edition of Today at the Royal Wedding with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb, live from Windsor, England.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Windsor, and it's
at Metaverse of Magic Live. 6 international magicians deliver world-class magic and breathtaking illusions, and you can interact live on your phone. It's been hailed as a spellbinding delight with captivating performances, visually stunning, and extraordinary experience. People are loving it.
Mind-blowing. World-class.
Metaverse of Magic Live. 2 weeks only these January holidays at QPAC. Book at qpac.com.au.
I'd do anything for you, dear. Anything for you, mean everything to me. I know that I'd go anywhere for your smile. Everywhere, yes,
Give your active dog what they need to perform at the top of their game. Purina Pro Plan Sport fuels their strength and stamina so they can tackle anything. PetSmart, anything for pets.
Amazing stuff, Joris.
Thank you. Thank you.
What strikes me is these are like really big projects, but also very different. Various media also. I think we saw a few games, but also something for NBC, which is like a big news network. Can you describe the difference between these projects, like the game business and more the news or entertainment projects? Are they really different to work on?
They are very different to work on, but at the end of the day, you have to capture a certain emotion. And I feel like the emotion, needs to be present in every project. So that is kind of what strings that together. I grew up as a theater kid, and I feel like music for theater and video games, there's a similar thing there where the music needs to be sort of adaptive and needs to be able to change on the spot. A video game can be played millions of different ways, right? So you don't know where the player is going to go, what decisions the player is going to make. In a theater play, it's a little bit more on rails, but still you're dealing with a live show that can take a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, depending on the crowd, depending on what's going on, how the actors are feeling. There's a lot of similarities in my approach there, where I have to make sure that the music can change at any time whenever it needs to change. When it comes down to news shows, it's a little bit more follow the spec, follow the brief. This is what we want. We want big Hollywood brass, and let's go. But it's a fun challenge to hit that mark. So yeah.
In terms of the people that are involved, like the people who are your clients or direct your input or have something to say about your music, is that really different too between the gaming world and the more entertainment news world? Or
I think video games generally are a little bit more accepting of experimentation. There's a lot more things you can try, and video game designers are also experimental people often. There's a lot of just collaboration happens on that front. I think when you're writing a tune for the news, it's more like this is what it needs to be. Yeah. And if you stand out too much, then you've done a bad job, I would say.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps you also have a bit more time to experiment if you work for games, or is that not true?
It depends. On large-scale projects, it seems like there's a little bit more time. We want to work fast and we want to do a good job. Often when we're working on mobile video games, on casual games, we just have a turnaround of, 1 day per queue. And that's just how it goes. But we are still putting in the same craftsmanship and that kind of thing. But if it's more of a brief where we have to experiment, where we have to think out of the box, and it just takes a little bit more time to find that right sound, then that takes a little bit more time. Yes.
I know that sometimes you also work as an orchestrator or a music producer. And I know this because you sent us a clip of an arrangement you did of music from Tim Larkin, I believe, for...
Oh, yeah. Dota 2, yes.
Dota 2, yeah.
It's a big strategy game, and you play it against other people. Yeah, Dota 2 is an awesome game made by Valve. Probably know the company from Steam. And they do a large-scale esports event every year. And I've been fortunate enough to work with Tim Larkin and do an arrangement of Dota music for the opening ceremony of the finale. We've done it 3 times now. We've done it in 2017... I did one for Seattle, and then in 2019 we went to Shanghai in China, and we did one over there. I was able to travel there and see the orchestra live, and then last year we did a big homecoming show in Seattle again, and it was really awesome.
And the clip we have here, is that from the last one, from the Seattle edition?
Yes.
Let's have a look. Wow. What a big sound that was.
Pretty big, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty big orchestra. Sounded pretty cool in real life
Do
as
you
well.
remember how many people you had playing there?
At least a 60 piece, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
choir. So what was that, like another 30 people, something like that? Yeah, it was awesome. And then the solo singer was just amazing as well. It was really cool.
Did you also have electronics layered in the background or some multi-track thing happening?
Got that one over there. Got the Moog playing in the background. There's definitely some Moog stuff happening and some other synthesizer things, especially when it's not like 2T orchestra. You know, I have some pads going on, some synth basses and that kind of stuff.
And is that something that you added because you felt like, okay, this is like my touch, or do you feel like you needed to add the electronics to get this big epic sound there?
No, this is definitely my own injection. Like, okay, this is what we want to do. I have a very awesome collaborative relationship with Tim. How this goes is at the beginning of the project, we get on a call and we talk about like what is the theme of this year's event, and this year's event was like the big epic homecoming. If you're familiar with the Dota music, you'll find that it sounds different than the tracks that you hear in the game, because the tracks in the game are for a video game, so therefore they have to be a little bit more in the background. Not the main theme. The main theme is pretty pretty similar to like how it's sounding in the game. But like all the other cues are meant to be background themes. And so when we orchestrate this and arrange this for a live show, it needs to feel more like a foreground piece. So then I come in and I think like, okay, well, what do I want to do here? And there's this one piece that I set completely for choir, but in the game, it's pads and a duduk playing that. So I just reharmonized the whole thing, reorchestrated it, and just like made a new piece of music for it, basically.
And is it then still a back and forth between you and Tim Larkin, or is it after you get started, you more or less finish it and then send it out for approval, or how does that work?
It's not really. I just go to town and then I send over like the 11 minutes of music, because he's the main composer of Dota. So I want to make sure that I'm being faithful to the music. Basically, once we get the ball rolling in a project like that, we're on the phone like every 3-4 days. And I just send over little snippets. And sometimes I come up with these really like wild ideas, like, oh, we can do it like this. And then, you know, am I going too far here? Is this too much? You know, I also don't want to alienate anybody. So I also want to make sure everything like stays very recognizable and true to the Dota style. It's just putting my own spin on what the Dota music is, while keeping it fun for for the players that are listening to this music every day. It
just occurred to me that maybe, don't know if this is true, but is it more common in the gaming world to have collaborations between composers, or work in teams, or work on each other's music, as opposed to like the big main composer with maybe a sort of an ego or a big name who really wants to keep it to himself?
That's a good question. I feel, but maybe this is bias because I am in this industry, but I feel like you're right over there. I feel like there's a lot of collaboration, and I feel like everybody also knows that it just takes a village to produce a video game score, right? I feel like the teams are usually a little bit bigger. There's often one or two composers, or maybe even three, depending on the project. If you look at the game that won a Grammy last year, that was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and that was done by Gordy Hobb and Stephen Barton. That's a deal right there. So I feel like you're right there. In the film music world, it happens also, but I feel like it's a little bit less prominent than in the video game world. Also, sorry, one thing to add there. It's also often, and I was just thinking, like, why is this the case? But you got to remember that video games sometimes need a ton more music than
you could say it's the same for movies, but I think a video game is often more of a collaborative effort in general, and less like one director putting his vision as a maker down.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes.
So it could be like a different culture.
It's a different culture for sure. Yes, I love it.
I suggest we take a really quick break, and then I'd like to talk about your collaboration with Austin Wintry.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.